Hello friends, Those Back Pages here. I hope you're well. Tonight's episode, I think I'm going to title it, So You Want to Get Into Vintage? Something like that. Maybe I'll change my mind. But this idea came into my head fairly recently, and it's just been reiterated lately by a lot of chatter that I'm seeing around social media. Oh, everything is crashing and burning and cards are dying and all of this, and I'm here to reiterate that the hobby is going to be fine. You collect because you love it. It brings you joy. It brings you escape from real life. At least it does for me. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with buying and selling. Everyone does it. Oh, 99.7% of people do it. I've done it. No worries. But if you go into this with that mindset, I can see how it can be frustrating and very stressful and pretty much anything but exciting. And I saw someone say this the other day, and made me really think. And see if I'm alone in this. I don't think I am, but they said that recently a PSA 10 version of this Acuna Bat Down rookie card had sold for $1,200. The PSA 10. This is a 9. And that got me to thinking. It's like, is that low? Is that a big drop? Because when I'm collecting something, I'm collecting it, and then I'm owning it, and then I'm marching forward to something else. Now, I think I've talked about this Acuna before, but I'll mention it again since you're here. And I wanted to thank you again for being here. I really appreciate it. That's why I do this. I bought a raw copy of this, going on 23 months ago when the product came out. At the time, they were going for $15 to $18 a piece raw. I paid $17 for raw, and I actually bought 2 different Glabers at $20 a piece. Acuna was cheaper. Glabers arrived, the raw Acuna never arrived. And I waited, and I waited. I went to the show that year in 18 in Cleveland. I saw piles of them for $20. Didn't pick one up because I figured, oh, mine will just show up when I get home. It never did. So I went and bought that one for $50, this PSA 9. So it came in. I own it. It's in my collection. I move on. Now when I see people saying, oh, the Acuna, this, now this ultra modern, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? If these get down to $50 again, maybe I'll add another one to my collection. If they get down to $25, I guarantee I will buy one. I just don't see that happening. So that kind of, as far as collecting goes, you buy it, you own it, and then on to the next thing. It really is all about the hunt. So you want to get in the vintage. I see that a lot. I see a lot of people saying that now. A lot of people that came in the last 2 years. In the new era, I like to call it the new age. They came in with the shiny. They fell into the trap of the influencers and the pumpers and the people that make content for the sake of making money. Get the clicks, get the views. all that stuff. But, you know, that's good. And there's nothing wrong with that in the beginning because everyone is learning. And, you know, eventually you have the Acuñas. You own the Acuñas. And the Sotos. And, you know, the Trouts. And everybody else. And then you just start to, you're like, all right, well, I have my fill on that. Now what? And then you start to look at vintage. And it can get a bit overwhelming. I will say that the price tag is not what it used to be. I'm fortunate enough that I've owned these cards that you see here, and most of the ones I'm going to show, the vintage stuff, for many, many years, upwards of a decade plus. Things are different back then. You know, you've got your Joe Namath, Broadway Joe rookie. Goodbye right now. He's still with us. Same thing with Kareem, Lou Alcindor rookie. These are a lot tougher to find in lower grade than you might think, because what's happening is people are buying these, cracking them out, having them signed, and then having them slammed up again. So I don't collect autographs. There's nothing wrong with that, but I find my hobby dollar goes a lot longer without autographs. Let's see. So you've got some pre-war here. Christy Mathewson. And like I've always talked about, guys, that, you know, this is a PSA 1. Looks pretty good. And then you turn it over, and it's got some paper loss there you can see on the back. Towards the bottom. It's got some paper loss, but it presents very well. Ty Cobb, bat on shoulder, PSA 1.5, well centered. That's what I really prefer in my vintage, is well centered with strong eye appeal. You know, I like to have no facial creases or snow. You know, I can live with creases elsewhere. I can live with, you know, rounded corners, fine by me. Lou Gehrig, Gowdy, higher number 1. It's supposedly a little shorter printed, but probably not. See, here's my Ruth. Well centered. It's got completely rounded corners. But it presents well, and you know, all these cards I'm showing took me a while to find, you know, the copies that I was satisfied with and the price point. You know, 1.5s and 1s back then were a lot cheaper than they are now. Here's a 39 play ball DiMaggio. What I like to have representation in my collection. Obviously, would I like a Joe D rookie? Of course, but the pre-war stuff has always been costly, even back 10 years ago. So, playing days cards for the all-time greats. Here's Jackie's Leaf rookie. Very happy to see a couple of my friends picking these up recently. It's nice to have them in the Jackie Leaf rookie card club. Let's see. You know, and then in the vein of owning the card and you know, here's a Hogan first Topps card. You know, from 85 Topps. I opened these as a child, as a youngster, as a 14-year-old. And this is a SGC 6.5. I've shown this before. And this was about $75. So, you know, a little, I mean, if you, again, like I said about the Acuña, don't check, like, what a raw, I wouldn't want to, not that there's anything wrong with raw cards, but it's just not my bag. there's just something, that's enjoyable about a slab, Any of the four companies. I mean, I prefer PSA, but any of the four companies. And again, it comes down to price point. PSA 6.5 PSA is probably twice as much as this. Somewhere in there, 75% more, something like that. Let's see. You can't go wrong, with Wayne Gretzky. This is a PSA 1 O-Pee-Chee rookie. I've had this for a long time. Presents very well. It's got crease. Corners are mashed in. I don't know if that'll pick that up. I mean, it's accurately graded. It presents well on video. Here's his Topps rookie. Fortunate enough to have this in an 8. Another thing I see a lot of on social media is people down talking their condition of their cards. It's an 8. This is a 1 O-Pee-Chee. Who cares? I have the card now. I have ownership of the card. Like I always tell you guys, the grass is always greener. There's going to be somebody that's going to have a better collection than you. There's always a bigger boat. Yada, yada, yada. Here's my Lemieux rookie, O-Pee-Chee. And a PSA 2.5. But look at that centering. It's accurately graded. The corners are pretty mashed. I think there's a crease here somewhere. Yeah, there's a crease right here. But again, this card is notoriously difficult on centering. And here's his Topps rookie that I've had for a very long time in a PSA 9. And you can see the card stock difference. On the back, Topps here, O-Pee-Chee here. But now I had gotten this year, so now I have an O-Pee-Chee Lemieux rookie to go along with the Topps I've had for a decade and a 9. And I think I pulled 12 of those as a youth when it was 14 when those came out. Quick story on that Lemieux. The Topps. Very small checklist. I want to say 165 cards that year, but being 14 at the time, I kept buying packs because I was trying to get a Billy Smith. Years later, I realized Billy Smith's not on the set. There is a checklist card, and it didn't dawn on me to read the checklist, but just keep buying packs at the Tiamo. At the candy store, wherever I could find them. Keep buying the packs. Okay, yeah, so those are some nice vintage cards. Here's a one of my favorite cards is a Hank Aaron's rookie. There is really no wrong time to buy a Hank Aaron rookie. So that leads me into the next phase of tonight's episode. And I'm filming this on a Monday night. So in 7 weeks' time, a little more than 7 weeks' time, I'll be headed to Atlantic City. Probably in the wee hours of the morning Tuesday. I haven't really decided on that yet. But hope to see each and every one of you in Atlantic City if it's feasible for you to make it. I cannot recommend it enough that you do go. But I digress on that. Let's continue. I've got some more stuff to show and some opinions that I hope you appreciate and you consider. 1996. We were past the strike in baseball. The Ripken streak kind of gave lifeblood to the hobby, and then McGuire and Sosa did what they were going to do. But, and I realized that in 93 we had Finest, but in 96 we had Topps Chrome. in baseball, basketball, and football. I wish they would have made hockey that year, but it is what it is. The one that made the splash is the Kobe. With the infamous Topps Chrome logo right there. That's pretty much remained the same to this day, which is pretty impressive. But, it got me to thinking, Chromium. I like to say Chromium because that kind of puts Prism and Optic and Select and Finest and Bowman's Best and Bowman Chrome. It puts them all under the same umbrella. So you say Chromium. It's kind of a I don't know. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But so we've got, we'll start with those. We've got these 3 iconic cards here. And, 96 saw a couple of things. Like I said, Chromium. And Topps went ahead in 96, and they had a Mickey Mantle, kind of like a retrospective. He was ill health, I believe. I think he died in 96, if I'm being honest. But so Topps released, they called these Finest. The Bowman and Topps reprints Finest, because Finest was more popular going into 96 because Topps Chrome was brand new. So you never knew, if it was going to take off or not. So that's his it's from 96, Topps base, Topps flagship. And then in 97, they made a Willie Mays set commemorating all his flagship cards, including Bowman's. And then in 98, they made Clemente, which I don't have the refractor. I have his rookie, but not his refractor. And then they never. It gets a little foggy, but they did off and on every couple of years or whatnot. They did some Hank Aaron's and Topps Chrome, but they in 2019 they did this factory set thing. This is just I forget what this is called. Someone will remember. But they did all a lot of the famous cards. They didn't have Mantle at the time, so there's no Mantle in it. Because he was exclusive to Panini at the time, but it's got the Topps Chrome logo there in the upper right hand corner, and you can see it it's real shiny. This is not a base. There is a gold version of this, but it kind of looks, it's more of a yellow looking. This kind of looks gold to me. I don't have one of those yet. Eventually. But that got me to thinking about some other, like, alright, well, you want to collect vintage, but you don't have the wallet for it, which is totally understandable. But there are alternatives, and there are alternatives that some of us, myself included, shunned for a long time, including these you see here, including this 52 Topps Chromium refractor. I'm very happy to have this. 10, 11 years ago, I had an opportunity to pick up his first Topps flagship card, 52 Topps, number 307, but I didn't. I opted instead to buy his rookie, because his rookie in a PSA 5 was probably about half the price of like a PSA 3. I don't even remember. I guess subconsciously I've blocked it out of my memory. But point being is that you know, the shine on this is incredible. These are not numbered. I don't think the camera's going to pick up on this part, but let's see if I can. Yeah, I don't think the camera's going to pick up on this part, but it says right here. Well, maybe it will. Right there, it says Chromium. And a bunch of patent numbers there. US, and you can see right there. Chromium registered. So I don't know if Topps has that copyright or what. Or they were just kind of... It's interesting. But yeah, so I was happy to add this to the collection. You know, at a complete fraction of what, you know, what the 52 Topps 307 goes for. But and the Topps 52 Topps 307 is not shiny. It's not a refractor. It's not chromium. It doesn't. It just. There's nothing wrong with it, obviously. It's a very costly card. But this card kind of ties the past into the current. You know, that's what all of these three do. They tie the past into the current. It is a pack issued card. It's a parallel. There's a non-refractor version of these. So there is a non-refractor version, which is fairly common. This one is not so common. I don't remember the odds on it. But, you know, that got me to looking at other things. Like other cards I don't have. I don't have a 52 Jackie. But I did pick up this from the 2013 factory set. They made a chrome reprint. This is the gold refractor version. It's not numbered. It does, you know, looks like the 52 back, but it's super shiny. It doesn't, you know, it's a gold refractor. There's a non-gold refractor which I'm trying to pick up. I haven't had any luck. But the gold version is not as easy to find as the silver version. Or the non-gold version. They don't call it a silver version, just regular refractor. So this is a pack issued. This is a set issued card. So I guess, you know, that's debatable whether, you know, how you feel about that. But this is a from 2002 Topps. They did some like a Brooklyn Dodger retrospective, and it does say Topps Chrome there, and it has this 52 World Series on it. I wish that wasn't there. It would make it look a lot better. It's got nice etching, being from 2002, back when they did etching. And again, the back kind of replicates the 52. This was only a couple dollars. But again, it's a pack issued Chromium version 52 Topps. Then we have in 2001 they came out with a product called Topps Archives Reserve, where, you know, I think it was 100 cards, all players' rookie cards, and here's the 75 Brett. It replicates the 75 back, reproduces, and just look at that shine. This was $5. Again, there's a pack issued. You know, it was only issued in packs. I picked up a couple others. Willie Mays, 52. Not a rookie, but first Topps card. I should have clarified that. Picked up a couple of those. There's another version of the Jackie in here. We can do a comparison with this one. tough to say. You know, I really love the Chrome logo, but again, it was a couple bucks. You know, talking $5 and under for that shine. Come on. So, you know, you know me. I had to pick up. I had to pick up a few for the Z. Satchel Paige. I guess I should have brought out his 53 tops. But again, look at that shine. I mean, that's, you know, that's just a great alternative. Here's another great alternative, Eddie Matthews, which, you know, is 411, the last card in, 407, the last card in the set. Manos 311. I keep getting those mixed up. But, you know, look at that shine. And again, $2, $3. You know, it's a pack issued Chromium card. You know, these are great alternatives to the original. I get it. Oh, it's a reprint. It's this and that. Well, it's not counterfeit. It's not an illegal reproduction. It's not a fake or counterfeit, like I said. But it is a nice way to have that particular card, because, you know, when people see, you know, I would think it's safe to say that most people know what this is. You know, not necessarily the Chromium refractor, but I mean the regular card. It's kind of an iconic card that, you know, most people cannot afford, but most people can afford this. Let's see. In 2013, Bowman Chrome did like they're called Sapphire, funny enough, but, you know, they did an insert set that, you know, reproduces the famous Bowman cards, rookie cards, or, you know, first cards from the years. I just don't think it's as nice looking. It doesn't have quite the shine. But again, it's $3. I mean, what are you really gonna lose? They did a Pujols, which, you know, he has a Bowman. This is the Sapphire parallel blah 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 insert of the Bowman, but he does have a Bowman Chrome autographed. He does not have a Bowman Chrome non-autographed rookie. Again, this was $3. You know, with this nice little side project, you're not really going to lose anything until you get to this one. You know, the Trout first minor league card autographed. This is not. It just looks. It's a facsimile. It's not a real autograph. That I think there are 10 of them that are numbered, but, you know, I'm never going to pay up to get the '09 draft auto. And this is actually, I made a trade. This is rough shape. It's got some surface scratches. Probably grade out at a 7 if I had to grade it. But for some reason, this card goes for stupid money. It is an insert. It's 2013, so it's not. Which, again, I guess it's 9 years old. It's a little scary to think about. You know, and that's another thing with, you know, with this is, you know, it's 2022. This came out in 96. So that's 26 years ago. I mean, these cards are not young anymore. They're not new. I mean, they just seem new because we've been at this so long. But I just think it's a fantastic alternative when you're tying together the Chromium and the history and the Chromium and put it together for these iconic cards. Now, I get it. They're, you know, they in 1983, Topps put out a factory set reproducing the entire 52 set, and they're, over the years they've been, you know, the 91 National gave out a Mantle 52 Topps Mantle reprint sponsored by Topps. They gave that out at the show 31 years ago. So there's that. There's a whole bunch of, you know, excuse me. There's a whole bunch of reprint. You know, there's the paper version of this too. There's a chromium non-refractor. There's a paper version of this. But I think it's cooler, if you can use that term when you're talking about sports cards, but to have the chromium, as particularly the shine. That's just my opinion. You know, I mean, I don't know anyone personally, at least I don't think I do, that's going to own a Wagner. But I went ahead years ago and picked up this 2013 Long Beach Expo commemorative reprint. You know, it's got the Piedmont back. I can't remember what it says on the bottom. Not important. But, you know, obviously this is not the original. But it's a 9-year-old promo. And I think this was $20. I knew I would never have the original, but I wanted to have this Wagner represented in my collection, and it's got the nice frosty inlay on the slab, not the baggy. Not a fan of the baggy. But, so rather than chasing the paper versions of this, I've tried to be more selective, and I wish they would make a chromium version of this. How great would that be? To have a refractor of this, that would be fantastic. Maybe in 2022, or who knows, and maybe someday in the future they'll make a chromium reprint pack issued version of this, and I would definitely like to add that to my collection. So I mean, that's the gist of it. I hope I got my point across. It's always easier to think, when I'm thinking about making the video, and then, when the words actually have to come out of your mouth, sometimes the point doesn't get across. I do have one more card to show. It's not baseball, but it is, 1952 design, and it's from 2006 Topps Heritage. They made a Tom Brady, they made a football version, Topps Heritage Football in 05 and 06. And, that just, obviously this card never existed before, but when I saw it, I had to have it. It does have etching. Just fantastic looking card, 52 Topps. They are numbered on the back. It's a 552. And it has the 52 back. But, I just think it looks cool, and, you can have, legendary players and Topps Chromium refractors, and these just look really nice. I'm just happy to have this one. Happy to have all of these, honestly, but I just think it's another cool aspect, like they made. And then for this, they made in 2006, Topps did a 2006 52, like apostrophe 52 set, and they made a bunch more of the, they did a 311 was Mano in the 52 set. I mean, the 2006 Topps 52 set, and then they did, I think, 6 or 7 color variations, teal, blue, green, yellow, red, black. But again, that's the paper. I mean, they did make a refractor, which is, again, it's numbered to 552, kind of like this. It's very costly, and for what it is, in my opinion, it's very costly. So I haven't picked one up. But with everything's crashing, everything's burning to the ground, maybe I'll be able to get some then. And maybe I'll be able to add some more pre-war vintage to my collection, or some, pre-Topps vintage to my collection at the show this year. I mean, I've had a couple people ask me, what are you looking for at the show? And I don't really have a list. I have a few things in mind. I mean, the last show I was at in August, the quote-unquote East Coast National, I wound up grabbing this because it spoke to me when I saw it, and so I'm expecting to have more of that kind of reaction this year at the show and in 7 short weeks. I can't wait. I just can't wait for the show. I mean, I'm very excited. It's going to be here before you know it.